What's up guys, welcome back for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Duel video. Next match, Cross-Banlist Cup. Again, two, well, kinda title candidates, I think. Definitely Dracopals versus Paleozoics. Again, two recent decks, 2017 versus 2016. First list, of course, is Dark Dracopals. The dark version, by the way, with small Armageddonite engine, Zephyros, and Shadow Dragon. Pretty much a searchable mythical space typhoon, and it can be important here in the Cross-Banlist Cup to pop your opponent's emptiness, royal oppression, well, floodgates in general. And again, the Maxis here in the main deck are, of course, super powerful against a lot of decks, right? Again, if you look at today's format. The second list indeed, we have Paleozoics, Paleos with frogs, of course. Again, this not really, but this should be Joshua's list from back in 2017. So which deck has the advantage? Well, I feel Dracopals might have the slight advantage here over Paleozoic frogs, but still, I agree with the people here. 3-2 for performages and, well, yeah, for Dracopals, right? It's not really performages and pals, but still, again, I think if you can compare both decks, performages and pals or Dracopals should be more consistent compared to Paleozoics. Then again, going first is so important, especially for Paleos and Dracopals. Both decks going first just gives them a big advantage over the opponent by, you know, establishing their board. In case of Dracopals, ending with, well, a couple of exceeds, maybe Titanic Galaxy if you have the option. But yeah, same for Paleozoics, setting your multiple traps like Solemn Strike. And if we take a look at the deck list, right, with multiple Solemn Strikes, multiple Dimensional Barrier, and of course multiple cards that can destroy your opponent's spell and trap destruction. Oh yeah, you know your opponent's spell and traps. It's, well, that might make this matchup kind of 50-50. Anyway, it was a great match. So game number one. Eventually heavy Armageddonite face up on the field, but Totally Awesome is such a dangerous card, right? I mean, against Paleos, you sometimes have the feeling that you might have the advantage over them, but with one card, like maybe one top deck or one card, like mainly Swap Frog, they can do so many things. And again, if they're able to protect their Totally Awesome for one turn, it's pretty much game over. I went for Utopia the Lightning, but I didn't really matter that much. He still had the Totally Awesome negate. And of course, with Duel on the field, you're forced to attack Duel first. And now with both Paleozoic exceeds on the field, he feels, of course, the set Draco face off is not live. And yeah, Maxi always too late. Yet more duels, as you will see in a couple of moments, where Maxi is always the extra card and not, well, that's the case, right, with Maxi. Anyway, so this should be his game going forward. What is it called? King of the Feral Imps to get another search, but in the long run it's not going to matter too much. The Mystical Space Typhoon popping one of my sets, or pretty much the only set I had, and now he's able to, well, you know, get multiple exceeds on the field and eventually attack for game. So kinda hard again. He was able to go first, set up multiple traps, and then you have cards like Solemn Strike, which just nuke or dump on the Pendulum mechanic. And okay, you can kinda play around that by not going for the full Pendulum summon, but against something like Paleozoics, you can't give them an extra turn, since they'll just go for Totally Awesome, establish more bigger exceeds, and, well, you're just a goner, so sometimes you just have to go for it. Anyway, so Zephyros I think should be in the grave. Yep, bouncing back the monkey board. You can only use monkey board's effect once per turn, so I can just use it next turn. Kinda iffy here. I didn't think I had the option to end with Titanic Galaxy. Titanic Galaxy is not that fantastic against Paleos, but they do play triple pot. At least this particular list did play triple pot of Desire, so it's quite the chances are quite okay, them opening with at least one of the pot of Desire. So ending with Titanic Galaxy might be okay. Dweller seemed also an okay option, I guess, but if not negating or preventing the Paleos from activating if I'm not mistaken, and of course interrupting a trap on the field, as you know, preventing a Paleo from directly chaining to an activated trap card on the field. Going for a Fleesia again, this should be my duel, right? Then again, he flips over the strike and he drops to 150 life points, I think, and I was like, oh wait, never mind, for Wavering Eye set, so I can just deal 500 burn damage. Could have been kinda close, but okay, he probably would have gone for Totally Awesome or something like that, but I don't think it would have mattered that much, right? Anyway, game number 3. I think this was an okay option to go for Dino Stir. You know, Dino Stir, when face up, it protects your pendulum monsters both on your side of the field and in your pendulum scale, so make them kinda safe against the Mystical Space Typhoon Paleo. So, but he did have the Book of Moon, so in the long run, well, I believe he had 2 options. Well, the Book of Moon definitely was one of them, and I believe the quote-unquote Raigeki Break, but not really sure if he had a card to discard for it. I don't think so. So the Book of Moon, followed up by the Mystical Space Typhoon, was one of the few outs he had here, but yep, he did have it, so sadly I can't resolve Monkey Board, and then, you know, just go from there. But with Maxi again, kinda late, just Maxi for the 1-for-1, since I desperately need extra answers, extra outs, right? Instant Fusion, going for Shadow Dragon, I think the only target here in my grave, and Castel will just eventually force out the Totally Awesome Raigeki his whole board, but again, as I mentioned before, you have the feeling, okay, I might be in a decent position, but still, the opponent does have Ronin Totem set up in his graveyard. I believe we know he has a Shrub Frog in hand, and yup, there it is, Totally Awesome, and now against a big problem, he will get a Surge. That's the problem, right? I mean, first, Totally Awesome has some nice attacks, at least has a nice attack stat during the next standby phase, during both standby phases. It will give you an extra plus, searching preferably Dupe Frog, again forcing your opponent to only attack the Dupe Frog, or of course swap, setting up another frog in your graveyard, fueling your Ronin Totem. So if they're able to get a Totally Awesome off, you're basically a goner, and let alone 2 effects, and yep, that was just too much here in this situation. So game number 4, again I get to start, I have the advantage, right, gaining some extra draws with the Upstart Goblin, and I think after some thinking this was the okay or better option, I guess, going for Dino Stir first, using Wavering Eyes to search out the monkey board. Eventually I'll get the draw indeed with Geek Turtle, and I believe with Lizard draw as well, but again, going for Ignister, and I believe this was a duel ending, or at least I had the option to make somewhat of a free, what's it called, Titanic Galaxy. Yep, 2 options, either use Ignister or Dino Stir. I don't think Dino Stir was that important here, protecting the scales or pendulum monsters, or pendulum monster here in this situation. I had enough fuel, enough searches, so I think I can afford a potential spell and trap destruction from my opponent. So I think keeping Ignister on the field to potentially threaten your opponent here, like here, I believe was much better compared to, you know, sacrificing Ignister by going for Titanic Galaxy. Push, or at least try to push for game, but there is the Book of Moon, I guess, so going to end with another Rafflesia, right, prevent my opponent from at least getting 2 Aquas on his side of the field, prevent the Totally Awesome from coming out, and definitely going to chain MXC, somewhat sacrificing a potential draw, but not let him gaining more monsters, water / Aquas on his side of the field, prevent the Totally Awesome from coming out, right. So here again I try to make a big push, even though he does have 4 sets. That Dimensional Barrier indeed is going to eventually stall it out. Not really sure if I do have the game. He's going to send back one of the frogs, pretty much fueling the Ronin Totem. But yeah, again, this one I can't lose, right, as you will see in a couple of moments. A lot of beat sticks on the field. Ars Fiend-centric, trying to pop the back row, but it does give him the extra Paleo on his side of the field, so eventually, I believe, yep, Reckless Greed doesn't get to draw, but again, okay, he's going for the Opabini, I believe the name, is not really sure about the correct DCG name. But he does have a small comeback here, going for the Paleozoic Exceed again, the second one, the one, you know, that needs 3 level 2s, but here, nope, it's not going to matter too much. Have the option to go for Ignister, for example. He does use the effect of the Exceed one, but again, I can just set up my skills, going for the Exceed summon for Utopia the Lightning, and I just attack for game. So 2-2, important game number 5, last duel. He starts off with a Marel, I believe the name is a Foolish Burl, and then normal summon the Joker, try to get the Surge. It's getting Breakthrough skilled, but prevent the, you know, the Paleo from activating his graveyard by chaining the Draco face off. Very crucial moves, right, against Paleos, prevent them from using their effects. He still has 1 set, and worst case scenario, that would have been like a Mystical Space Typhoon Paleo here in this situation. But luckily, having your Wavering Eyes and no sets, so I don't have to fear the Solemn Strike or whatever, right? And yeah, now I can just spam my board freely, you know, Master Rule 3, no link summon, so I can just special summon every extra deck monster to my side of the field. Yeah, a lot of monsters, and eventually just attack for a game. So again, this was a close, definitely a very close match. One duel, as you will see that we had an extra duel, which will follow soon, right? But I think we have a well-deserved winner here with, yeah, Dracopals moving on to the left side, and will take on either, and that will also be the next match, either Chaos from 2003 OCG Chaos or Synchrocat, also OCG by the way, from 2008 with Armshole and Brionek, you know the shenanigans. So next matchup again, Time Seal Chaos versus Synchrocat, like always. Feel free to leave your predictions. This was an extra duel we had, again prolonging the match, right, preventing spoilers. He again opts to start. This is a much better start, again having the Totally Awesome on the field with a potential negate, the Dueling protecting the Totally Awesome, and 3 sets. And let's not forget also the Marella, so I'm in such a terrible position. Monkey board is eventually going to get destroyed, and I believe his last card, yeah, it's indeed going to be a strike. Again, here in this situation, I have to special summon everything I have. There is no reason to potentially, you know, keep yeah, some pendulum monsters or some monsters either in hand or in my pendulum zone, or yeah, pendulum or extra deck, right? Again, if it does have if it does have a warning or strike, GG, well played, game over. But yeah, luckily this wasn't the 5th game, right? That would have been a disaster for Dracopals. But still, this, I believe the 6th match proves that it's very much 50-50 between both decks, and going first pretty much always is very, very important. But here in this matchup feels much more important, right? Okay. Guys, again, feel free to leave your predictions, and thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. YgoPro signing out. Peace.